Welcome in to the second episode of the Buffalo Down podcast. I'm Joe Cali, joined by Justin Siejak. You got our game reaction episode to an absolute stinker between the Bills and Dolphins. Now you're going to get a game preview from us, and we're going to look around the NFL and also just within the division, see if it is still possible for the Bills to make a late push for the division like they did against Miami a couple years ago, or if they're going to be a road playoff team, which I'm leaning towards that,
and I wouldn't be. Like it.
What'd you say?
It's kind of looking a little scary right now.
Yeah,
I mean, the AFC is pretty competitive this year. We're behind the Chargers even as a wild card, so it's not looking good right now. But hey, there's still a good amount of weeks left, and anything can happen. So
plenty of football left. You're absolutely right. But looking at this Bills-Bucs matchup, I think this is honestly a favorable matchup for the Buffalo Bills. I just on paper, especially if they want to get the passing attack going with like Josh Palmer coming back, Gabe Davis maybe elevating. Now Mecole Hardman possibly elevating with a speed element there as well. Like this Bucs defense is going to be able to give you a few big plays. We saw that with the Patriots last week. Speaking of the Patriots, just Mac Hollins had a big dish down the field. Stephon Diggs had a few big catches. Henderson with his run game, right? Like James Cook could have a big game. So the Bills offense as a whole, whether it be passing or running the ball, I do feel like this is a pretty fine matchup for them. I'm not really, and especially, Bucky Irving trending towards looking doubtful, right? You're not playing, Godwin still being out, Mike Evans out. Like, yeah, Egbuka, sure, and you have a couple other guys, but
Tez Johnson's out there with the speed.
That's right, Tez Johnson, and also in the running attack, Rachaad White doesn't scare me like Bucky Irving does.
No,
so
Rachaad White doesn't scare me from a running perspective, though. Former Syracuse alum Sean Tucker does kind of. Ooh, we might get the ball a little bit here. We might have a little homecoming here.
Who knows? Who knows? That'd be a little crazy to see. I would like that, but not really, actually. As a Bills fan, I would rather him not pop off and, do that. But I do think, what do you think about the favorability for the Bills? I don't think this is a crazy matchup for them. I really like this, actually.
Yeah, the Bucs have kind of cooled down a little bit. In the beginning of the year, it looked like, oh man, these guys might be world beaters in the NFC, but they've calmed down a little bit. They've been banged up, like we mentioned. Bucky Irving's been out. Chris Godwin's been out. They lost Kalijah Kancey, the defensive tackle, for the year. So that was tough. You ask 7th-round rookie Tez Johnson to come in and be your wide receiver too. And behind Emeka Egbuka, who they're very lucky is a world beater wide receiver, because they'd be in serious peril if they didn't have him. The passing game hasn't looked the same it has accustomed to Baker Mayfield years in Tampa Bay. So they're relying a lot on rookie receivers now at this point to kind of carry their offense. The tight end there, they've got, what's his name?
Cade Otton?
Cade Otton, yeah. Cade Otton from Washington, yeah. He's not a world threat. He might threaten the seams a little bit, but the Bills are built to cover, down the middle of the field. So that'll be nice with the linebackers. I think that's a good favorable matchup. But like you said, even looking back to that Patriots game where they played each other, the defense was leaky. It's not as strong. I'd have to look up the metrics on it right now, but the eye test kind of tells you, okay, this is a team that the Bills can potentially not maybe call it a get-right game, but at least establish a foundation for the offense. I think they need to settle down. Buffalo seems like they're falling apart right now, and it's fair because the noise from the fans can be heavy. That's a lot for, like it or not, these guys are humans. The coaches are humans, the players are humans, and you like to pretend they don't hear it. They hear it. They hear everything we're saying. It's well broadcast in the locker room. So I think usually off of games where it's kind of a torrential downfall, the Bills and Sean McDermott are pretty good about righting the ship. I feel good about this matchup, but I would like to see some steps in the passing game. It feels like a broken record at this point. But
I know.
Somebody's got to get going.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, how much longer can we sit here and say we need to see more from the passing game? Because I feel like that's been everybody's diagnosis of this game this week is even Thurman Thomas on One Bills Live, Hall of Fame running back, right? And big proponent for James Cook getting the share, right? And doing what he does. He's saying on One Bills Live yesterday, Josh Allen needs to throw the ball more. Like, everybody's kind of flipping on their head. And honestly, like, just looking at this passing attack, there's one big person who's been marked out today. We were just after 12 o'clock where Sean McDermott joins Sal Capaccio on WGR and goes through who's out, questionable. Kincaid is out. Fedarian Mathis is out. Fedarian Mathis doesn't have anything to do with the offense, but Kincaid specifically here, that's a big sting. He's been your, I would say, most productive receiver, in quotes, right? Like your entire season.
100%.
So this is a big, Josh Palmer's going to come back. This is a big Josh Palmer game. This is a big Gabe Davis if he's elevated. And honestly, like looking at this game, I don't know about you, I'm getting Dawson Knox vibes. Like I really am. Like in the end zone, that's where he's historically been his best. Oh, especially against Tampa Bay. Remember that overtime loss against Tom Brady's Bucs?
Yes.
It's the last time the Bills played them. Dawson Knox had a touchdown. He had a good chunky yardage. Like he was very productive in that game. That's the year before he gets his contract, and everyone cries about that. But I do like going back to favorability. This is good for the Bills passing game, even with Kincaid out, because they do have a lot of force coming back and new faces in Mecole Hardman as well. So, are you worried about the Kincaid injury? And Shakir also, we're seeing videos of him in a non-contact jersey for the first time this week, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's going to be a go, right? Maybe not in a full capacity, but he'll be out there at least. We'll be seeing him. How do you feel about the Bills' injuries? Like, is Kincaid, is it a make or break? Do you think they'll be fine?
It's tough. It's tough when you get a guy who's been as productive as Dalton Kincaid, especially in terms of volume. I think he's been your leading reception getter week after week. I'd have to look at it, but I can't envision anybody potentially overtaking him in receptions.
Yeah.
But he's been incredible for the Bills. He's been your true separator, which that term comes up left and right this season. But
separation.
You're getting that from your tight end, and while that may not be ideal or historical, that's what it is, and it's okay because that works, and every offense needs somebody like that. Now with Dalton Kincaid out and Josh Palmer coming back into the fold, you got to hope that, okay, the narrative that he came in this offseason was he's going to be your man beater. You got to hope that plays through, because now you're getting into the X's and O's real deep if no one can beat man coverage. And let's be honest, have we seen enough from Joe Brady to trust that kind of game plan going against an experienced defensive coach as Todd Bowles, you know?
Yeah, that's a good question. We've seen the shots of Joe Brady's play calling that work. We have. Well, I mean, last season, look at what he did with the offense they had, right? And he had a separate. Mac Hollins turned into a separator, which was just crazy to even think about, right? He's a downfield threat. Guy couldn't track a deep ball in the first 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden, he scored 2 deep ball touchdowns against Kansas City in the AFC Championship. Like, he's a big piece of it. I think Joe Brady could have a get right here, like not to use that term again, but I think he has to. I think it's not do or die. It's not a must win. It kind of is, but it isn't. I hate must win. I hate just throwing that around because I feel like that's thrown so haphazardly everywhere. But it is in a sense kind of, okay, Brady really needs to start like righting the ship here. We need to see a change. Like I'm all for establishing the run. You need to focus on passing first, I think. The predictability of running on first down, it's like 95% of the time the Bills do that. And teams just load up against it. Then you're forced into passing situations and they shut down your passing offense. Like, change it up. Flip the script. For me to be happy, even if they win this game, and I think this is where a lot of people are at this point. And some people are still going to say, how do you enjoy watching football if you think this way? I'm just there. This team should be a Super Bowl team, right? This team should be going to the Super Bowl. We have to think about them that way. They're professional athletes. For this, like, if they win by 10 points, but still look terrible and the Bucs played a bad game, like, and James Cook just handled business and the passing offense still looked just completely tattered, I'm not going to be ecstatic about this because it showed no change from what's hindered you for the past 3 weeks. Like, you played against Kansas City, right? And that game was the Bills are back, in quotes, because then they fall apart the next week. They didn't really change all that much, though. They sent Elijah Moore down the field once. Like, it wasn't really like, I think they just they're built to beat the Chiefs. I think that's where they're at, right? They're the perfect kryptonite for them, and it's just the way it goes. But then you have Miami, who's a timing offense in the West Coast, kind of, with how Mike McDaniel runs that. They're not built to beat that. Like, I just don't know. It's so weird. This season's been such a roller coaster every week. You just really don't know what you're going to get. But if they could go out there and take care of business against Tampa Bay, I'm not going to be fully confident again because I have to see it for more than 1 week.
Right.
And really have to see some offensive adjustments. Like I said, like, let's change up running on first down. But if they go out there and look different and it looks like they're kind of awaken, I would feel a lot better. But if they look sleepy still and they win, I'm still where I'm at now. I don't feel good about it.
It just feels like you'd be worried about it. It's kind of weird because the Bills have gotten themselves into a habit of offense looks respectable one game, next one doesn't. Offense looks respectable the next game it doesn't. So we're kind of on, off here. You know, in the pod on Monday, we used the term sporadic. The offense has been nothing but sporadic this year, and, you know, that's never a good sign, obviously, in the NFL. But kind of going back to looking at this as like a get-right game, I'm taking a quick look at the Buccaneers depth chart right now, and their corners don't scare me. Back in the day with Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean and all those guys,
those were scary.
A healthy Antoine Winfield, sure, you're striking some fear into me. But Joe, here's their starters this week. Jamel Dean is still there; he's their starter. Right cornerback Zion McCollum. I think he was a 5th-round pick a few years back out of a small school. This guy's an athletic freak. But we haven't seen him fundamentally, iron down his game sound-wise in terms of football. He's just kind of been out there. I think he blew up the combine when he went in Indy, so he's kind of one of those guys for them. Antoine Winfield is questionable at safety, which sucks because it's kind of plagued him throughout his year. 2nd-round rookie Benjamin Morrison is still there. He's not designated as a starter, but who knows? You know, he's a 6'2" guy. He can kind of play a little bit of both man and zone, so getting your pause on somebody like Keon Coleman, maybe that's your matchup. Maybe that's 6'4" Keon Coleman versus 6'2" Benjamin Morrison. Again, depth charts don't tell us the whole story. It's a matchup-to-matchup, league. So maybe we see some size on size here. Maybe they give Keon some new looks. We've been saying that for so long. That's a whole other story. You can talk for 20 minutes about Keon Coleman, but Jacob Parrish is their slot guy, who I know a lot of Bills fans love. Jacob Parrish coming into the draft this draft season from Kansas State. He's fiery, former wrestler. It was all there for the Sean McDermott ties. He's been playing really good ball for them. So the corner, or maybe Shakir. Maybe this is a Shakir game where it's tough for him to get open with dealing with this ribs injury. Jacob Parrish is a physical guy, and he's not going to make it easy on him. So that'll be interesting to watch. Maybe that unlocks more of the outside attack. We don't know who they're deploying yet. Actives haven't been announced yet. But I think the script's there. I think the script's there to attack on the boundary here, and this would be the game to do it.
This would be the game to do it. And you made a good point about Shakir. Like, with his injury, how used is he even going to be as well? Like, can we see him consistently out there?
Well, those are Josh's 2 guys, Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, and now, all of a sudden you've got, one who's banged up, one who's not suiting up at all. So now we're really going to get tested on offense here.
And honestly, I feel like that's where the struggle has been. I don't think Josh trusts anyone else. It doesn't seem like he does. Like, he doesn't look comfortable. He'd rather double back instead of roll out and throw to somebody on the run. He'd rather double back and wait for one of his guys, right? Like, I just don't. And Coleman, to his credit, he is not a boundary receiver. And he, unfortunately, after Matt Collins left, was shoehorned into that, right? Like, this is kind of the way it went. So he's got to play in that right now. Do I think he has a place in this offense? I do. I genuinely do. I'm not a Keon Coleman hater to the point where I'm just going to say, trade him, get him off the team. If you move him outside, if you take him off the boundary, right, and actually let him do what he does best, his gauntlet drill across the middle of the field, it's where he's gotten his separation when he's gotten it. It's literally shallow across the field. He's a big slot receiver, and I know you already have one of those in Shakir, but deploy it differently. Have him still on the other side.
Have him spell Shakir.
Exactly, right? Do something. Like, I think with the return of Davis and Josh Palmer being healthy, we, like you said, might be able to see Coleman used in a different way and a more effective way for him, which, I mean, that's Steve Smith Sr. podcast, right, with James Palmer. He said he felt bad for Coleman in a sense because it's a kid being shoved into a role that he's not built for. And I agree with that. Listen,
it kind of feels like he's becoming like a scapegoat of the offense almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone's been bad. It just hasn't been Keon Coleman. Everyone's been bad. Josh Allen has been bad. That's a lot of things. That's a lot. Bills fans love to skip over that. Josh Allen has not been his typical MVP self. And I think that just goes back to the trust. The personnel, there's no trust in his receiving weapons. How can he be good for you if he doesn't trust the guys who are on the boundary? If he doesn't trust the guys who are blocking? But obviously the blockers have been solid. But it's feels like everyone's pointing at Keon Coleman for being the main reason that the Bills' offense hasn't been as cohesive. It's not. It's a mixture of coach, it's a mixture of trust, and it's a mixture of chemistry. And it's just, it's not there right now. But like we said, this may be a good opportunity for the Bills to get it right here against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and that's pretty much offensively all my thoughts. I just, there's not a lot other than the guys coming back. That's really all we're looking to see from the offense. I'm more curious about defensively if they're going to be able to stop Baker Mayfield. I do like that he likes to hold on to the ball and scramble and do all of that, right? Like it's not Tua where he's going to throw it out in a half second and just, it's not West Coast style, right? Like you're going to be able to get some pressure on him. And I know Bosa's going to be clubbed up, right? So grabbing is going to be a little tough for him. But Rousseau has been playing well, getting pressure. He hasn't hit home. So you could see a big Greg Rousseau game pop up, right? Like that happens from time to time. And then you have TJ Sanders coming back from injury as well, more than likely. So you don't have to see Daquan Jones maybe playing edge rusher as much.
Maybe Morgan Fox suits up. Who knows?
Morgan Fox might suit up, and he's kind of a Michael Hoyt-ish, can do a little bit of everything. So,
like I said, he's a productive veteran. He's had seasons where he's eclipsed 5 sacks, which, okay, maybe you're not saying that's a world beater, but that's productive in the NFL, and that's someone who can play a role in an every down defense. So Morgan Fox can be deployed in quite a few different ways. And I'm excited to see how the Bills use him with this spell of injuries that they've had with defensive end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the front lines are where I'm the most concerned. I'm going to be honest with you. But looking at the secondary, the Bills secondary, I'm really not, outside of linebacker, I think looking at Terrell Bernard, I don't want to critique him hard because I feel like it's a Taylor Rapp situation where Taylor Rapp, we were looking at him like, what happened to this guy? Where's the guy from last year, like being serviceable? We found out he had a lingering knee injury since training camp, right? So Bernard is clearly playing through an injury. You can tell he's not how he normally looks in seasons past, and there's a reason he was the break glass in case of emergency guy in Carolina, and then he had to go out against the rest of them last week and play because Shaq Thompson's out. So Shaq Thompson potentially being back, I think he might take that spot from Bernard again. It's not a soft benching. I don't want to say that, but more of a rest, recuperate. If we need you, we'll call on you kind of a situation. I think that improves the secondary a little bit, at least at the linebacker level. And then you go further back, and I'm going to say it, Cole Bishop, I have no worry in that safety secondary, especially with the Hancock-Poyer rotation. I'm okay with that. They've been serviceable. They've been fine. Cole Bishop's been making splashes every week. I think he's going to continue to do that. Baker really likes to heave down the field every so often. He's a gunslinger at heart, right?
Always has been.
Always has been. He and Josh Allen have a similar type of dog in them, right? They just like to rip the ball down the field sometimes, and not Josh Allen this year, but years past Josh Allen. And we'll see. Like, I do think Cole Bishop has a big game. Max Hairston and Trey White. Honestly, on a short week, I'm okay with them rotating if Benford can be back, right? Saving what's going on here, because I do think Hairston eventually overtakes Trey White. I think he's got more upside. Yeah. His ceiling's way higher, right?
Yeah.
But this week specifically, especially with Thursday Night Football coming up, it's going to be a tight week. So rotate them, save as much as you can. And that's why, like, I think Bosa's touches might go down a little bit. His snaps might go down a little bit. Like, we're going to, I hate the short weeks like this because it totally blows up game planning and like thinking about how this game's going to work. But I'm not really, the front lines are where my concern lies just from an injury perspective. The secondary and the linebackers and beyond, I'm actually 100% confident and they're going to be able to make some splash plays happen. They held the Dolphins to 16 points. The offense just couldn't get on their feet. You can't really ask them to do any more than that. And I think they can do that against Tampa Bay. What do you think?
So if we're staying on the defensive line topic here, let me pose a hypothetical for you. Because now we're counting on guys that, at one point we thought maybe they get in the game a few times. Now they're going to be playing every down. Yeah. So let me pose this hypothetical. Morgan Fox gets activated. And assume he's going to be a staple on the defensive line for maybe the next 4 or 5 weeks. At minimum. If they need him, he'll be out there more. Who dictates a larger role for the rest of the season on the defense? Morgan Fox or Javon Solomon?
Ooh, that's a good question. It would all depend on how Fox plays. And I know that's like a cop-out answer, right? Like that kind of is. But if Fox comes out here and stuns and is able to move around and kind of do different things where you need him to do it, so you don't send Daquan Jones to the edge, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he can go out there and do that very effectively and hey, if a defensive lineman does get a stinger on a play, you could shift him inside if you really want to, right? Like, I think he's got more upside with the versatility than Solomon might just on the edge. But Solomon hasn't had a terrible season by any means. So I could see it going either way, I feel like. You know?
I think, you know what, and kind of funny on that question, I think they're both going to play significant roles at least Sunday, because they have to. They're so low on numbers, they're both going to have to play significant roles. And the talk of the town has kind of been Javon Solomon assuming that Michael Hoyt role, where he lines up as this joker kind of player over the center, lining up all over the defensive lineman, kind of creating confusion. I think athletically, he has a higher ceiling than Morgan Fox, which would be cool. And you got to remember, Javon Solomon was an uber productive college player. Now, we say that with a grain of salt. Where he went to Troy. But I believe his senior year, he had 16 and a half sacks. And you kind of can't teach sack production. So I'm excited about Javon Solomon a little bit here. Because once you get him in a large role, what can you show us, dude? What can you show us? You got to the quarterback 16 and a half times in your senior season at Troy. Okay, year 1 was a redshirt year. Year 2, they're asking you to step into a large role. You need to prove your worth. And I'm excited about Javon Solomon. I really am. I think he could be a hidden story here coming into this game against the Buccaneers. Morgan Fox is going to be great. I think they're going to ask him to play maybe a little bit of that traditional hand in the dirt kind of role, at least on the edge. Maybe they'll ask him to kick inside, depending on how numbers look with TJ Sanders coming back. But I think I don't want to say they're here to save the season, but I'm excited about the potential of what they can do in spell of the injuries.
Kind of is season saver, right?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of has to be.
As we transition, I guess, to a little bit looking around the NFL, and as long as you're all set on kind of previewing the game, I'm not a big prediction guy because I just don't want to jinx anything. I don't know how you are with that. If you want to throw a prediction out there, go ahead.
For this weekend's game?
Yeah. Are you a big prediction guy, or are you?
I think the Bills win. That's what I'll say.
That's all I think. I do think this is a very winnable game for the Bills. I'm not going into the nitty-gritty.
They're aware of what they're up against. They're aware where they've put themselves. They're aware of what needs to be done at this point.
Yeah. They're very self-aware, at least. I mean, at least you see it in the press conferences, too.
No,
Josh Allen literally had a quote basically saying that. I know where we need to be, all of that. So, and McDermott has addressed it on multiple weeks now. Passing offense needs to be better. It shouldn't be that hard for Josh Allen. So, listen, they're going to go out there and do what they have to do. But looking around the NFL now, I have an exercise I want to do with you strictly for the AFC East. But just in general now, before we get into that, I feel like it's such a weird season in the AFC. Everything's just so backlogged at the middle of the pack, right? The Chiefs.
And that's why it's kind of dangerous for the Bills.
Right. That's where you could make a case if they really don't figure it out, and we call this a must win. Could that drop them out of playoff contention? Every win matters now. I feel like it is. And you're going to play good teams. You still have the Eagles to play. You still have, you have to roll through your schedule. And the Bucs are not a bad team. They could have a phenomenal game. They're kind of hot and cold.
Still got Patriots part 2.
Exactly. In the second Patriots game, you're absolutely right. So there's a lot going on in this season. How, panic meter, I guess, to do that right now. I don't know where I'm at. I feel like I'm still pretty level-headed. I have confidence in this team. It might be blind confidence. I might just be thinking they can turn it around because they have against the Bills, or the Dolphins, excuse me. And that was more dire circumstances, right? That was a 5-5 team and 6-6 going into the bye week, and what do we do? And they fired a coordinator midseason, and they ended up running it out for Miami. Granted, it was Miami, and they ended up imploding as well to get to that point. But with the Patriots, with the league, where's your panic at? Are you panicking at all?
Is this a panic meter based on the Bills' playoff admission period?
We could say that. I guess I'm confident they'll make the playoffs. I just think they're going to be a road playoff team.
I think they'll be a road playoff team. If you're asking me,
just state of the team in general, with the rest of the AFC.
State of the team in general, I'll say I'm at a 6. Any chance you got a guy like Josh Allen at quarterback, there's always a chance. Dude's the ultimate gamer. It's almost like I've never seen something like this in the NFL. I kid you not, he just finds a way to get it done, whether that's through the air or on the ground. And I guarantee you, if it gets dark enough at one Bills drive, he's going to say, all right, F it. I'm just going to go screws loose to try to save this team on offense. He's going to start running the ball. He's going to start airing it out, because what do you have to lose if you find yourself at 6-5 or 7? You know what I'm saying? In a tight AFC race, I think it may get to that point eventually, because you can only carry yourself so far on the field. I'll place it at a 6. They're going to get some guys back. Kincaid will be back before the playoffs. If I had to guess, late November, early December kind of deal for Kincaid. And that's your main guy. And once you can deploy Dalton Kincaid, Josh Palmer, If you want to roll with Gabe Davis, if you want to roll with Hardman, once you can deploy these guys all at once, fingers crossed, none of them go down again.
Yeah, knock on
That's
wood.
a different kind of product we're looking at, and it's different because you want to judge them where they're at now, but we can't judge them of what they could be when they're all healthy, and that's the ultimate, kind of conversation in the NFL. So
yeah.
I'll say I'm at a 6. They've got Josh Allen. They've got James Cook, one of the best running backs, probably, in my opinion, probably the second best running back in the NFL. Second or third, at least this year. Because Jonathan Taylor is the undisputed number 1. But I think, like I said, it kind of comes down to how they're wired. They're aware. We talked about it. They're so aware of who they are and where they are. 6 is my spot.
I like it. I'm pretty much there. 5.5 to 6, I would say. I do have confidence in them. It's not the world's burning down by any means. I'm not there. But it's disheartening to see where they're at this season compared to last year. But I think you mentioned as long as Josh Allen's here, I do have a feeling it's gonna be okay. I think that not on the fan side, because I think that's a great mindset to have, and it's true. The front office bought too hard into that, though. I think, right? Like not drafting a number 1 wideout, trying to draft an X receiver, not trading for a wideout. Like this season, everybody eats worked last year, but there wasn't tape on it. It was you had different players, right? Like this season, you lost one of your big players, and you didn't replace him. You just tried to shove Keon Coleman into that. And then it didn't work. So they bought in too hard to the fact that with Josh Allen, we're going to be okay, I think. But I do think that, like this season, I think he's able to make those game-changing, like he can change an entire game. But I don't think it should be what this organization just lives by the sword, dies by the sword moving forward. Like I think that's where they messed up a little bit.
And that's why the fan base gets unhappy, because you're in year 9. And the conversation still is Josh Allen has to play Superman. That's an exhausting conversation to have in year 9.
Yeah. And considering you look at teams, the Peyton Manning Colts took them till year 9 to win his first Super Bowl, and we're treading way past that territory if this year does not happen. So I don't know. It's already all over Twitter. Is Josh Allen the Phillip Rivers, all that stuff? Like I stay clear of that because I don't think that. But
I ain't gonna talk on that.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's an interesting spot to be in. 5.5, 6, I think, is a perfect panic spot to be in. Not over panicked, but concerned would probably be the best word. But looking at I want to do this exercise with you now, especially with the AFC East, right? The Patriots are where they're at right now. Like they're taking care of business. They took care of Tampa Bay last week. I want to go through the rest of their remaining schedule. I want you to say win or loss when I mention the team. And then we'll do the same for the Bills. Then we will see where they exactly add up. Are they both going to be 12-5? Will one be 13-4? Like, because it'll be interesting. Because if we have them both end up at 12-5, then these tiebreakers are actually going to mean something.
Sure,
so it's gonna get dicey. This could be an exciting end of the season. That big game, that second game against the Patriots means a lot.
It's in Foxborough too.
Yeah, it is in Foxborough, and you kind of you needed the Jets to win last night, and they play the Jets in Miami in the last 2 weeks because they have to even up the AFC East division record. But
by the way, for where the Jets are, they gave them a pretty decent game.
That's what I'm saying. I was surprised. I looked at the score, and it was 7-7 in the first, and then 14-7.
Yeah,
and then even at the end.
Yeah,
it wasn't like totally out of reach though. They held them to a field goal at the end to keep it a 2-score game instead of a 3-score game. Like the Jets were a little feisty with them. By the end of the season, if they get some juice, and teams out of spite, just like the Dolphins, I could see in that last game how the Bills used to do with the old Patriots and the Jets with Rex Ryan, right? They would just, we're going to play our best football game in week 18 or week 17, whatever it is at that time, and just blow up your playoff hopes. So I could see the Dolphins doing that, but Patriots schedule, their next game, Sunday, November 23rd. So they're going on their bye week, I think, coming up. Because that's a big jump. Patriots Bengals. They play the Bengals. Could Joe Burrow be back at that point? Because he's back to practice.
Kind of sounds like he's going to be back earlier than expected.
Yeah, and that's another game that the Bills have coming up that I'm like starting to be a little nervous about now.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to really play.
Is that Bengals game in Foxborough or in Cincinnati?
Patriots at Bengals, 1:00 on Sunday, November 23rd.
23rd. So yeah, that's okay. That's 9 days away. So
No, they played on Thursday night, so they haven't had
an early
a bye
Thursday
week
night
yet.
game. So yeah.
Yeah.
So, ooh, that's a good one. You know, I think that could be a good matchup if Joe Burrow's in there.
Their defense still can't stop a nosebleed, though.
It doesn't
Cincinnati.
matter. It doesn't matter if their defense, because New England's been so efficient on offense, and I think a lot of people like to say Drake man MVP. Yeah, he's hooping, man. But so is Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels is calling a hell of a game plan right now.
He can't head coach, but he can coordinate. Holy cow.
He can coordinate a game for the New England Patriots. I know that much. So
right.
I think I'll go with New England on that one. If you can't stop their offense, and they've been pretty high-powered this past few weeks, I'll go New England against Cincinnati.
Their only weapon's Hendrickson on their defense, pretty much. So not much you can
trade
really
away Logan Wilson. So
that's great. December 1st, the week after. So you have them going in the next few games here. They're 1-0 right now. New York Giants at New England. I feel like that could get frisky. I'm not going to lie to you, especially the new head coach juice. Jackson Dart has been putting up crazy performances.
There is always a chance, yeah. There is always
Jackson
a chance.
Dart could do it. I would lean towards a Giants victory, but that might just be me rooting for chaos.
Yeah.
But what do you think?
If I'm rooting objectively, I'm taking the Patriots still. That team's they look like they're on fire right now. And better than that, they look like a family.
They do.
Can we say that about the Bills so far this year?
Mike Vrabel is a culture guy.
Yeah.
He might not be the biggest X's and O's guy. That guy knows how to build a team, though, and you're watching that. Like, look at Diggs, how he's bought into that versus how he was at the end of his tenure here. You know what I mean? Like,
I haven't seen any of that from the Bills this year.
No, there's no fire, and that's part of the problem, I would say.
I'll take the Patriots in that one. So
2-0
since then.
Bills Patriots the next week, December 14th.
That's the big one, right?
I think the Bills win this game. I think they split. Because the Bills played a terrible game against them last time, and they still only lost by 3 points. It was a penalty-heavy, just rough game from the Bills. And I know the Patriots didn't play great either, but Diggs went off in that game, and I don't know if he'll do that again.
I feel like I got to phone a friend. I got to phone our meteorologist in New England here to see what it's going to look like, because that dictates the game too. If it's a snowy, windy, kind of gross New England night, well, they're just going to run the ball. They're just going to run the ball against the Bills and say, okay, hey, Bobby Babbage, stop this. And if you can't, we're going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So they've got 3 guys in that backfield. Travion Henderson, who's starting to see the rock more now, had a hat trick last night. Ramondre Stevenson and Terrell Jennings. They all touch the ball in that offense. So I would feel that if it's a gross New England night, man, your run defense is going to get tested. And through 10, 11 games, whatever it is at that point, I haven't seen enough to tell you that they can stop the run well enough.
Yeah. I do think, though, if the Bills' offense is healthy again, I think they'll be able to outscore.
Absolutely. And again, this is just largely hypotheticals, but you're right. If that Bills' offense is healthy, featuring Dalton Kincaid, featuring James Cook, featuring Josh Palmer, featuring whoever, Khalil Shakir, yeah, they can give them a battle, and they're going to play them tough because now you're in the long stretch of the season, and they know it's a divisional game. They know they lost the first one. They know they've dropped other divisional games. They're going to bring it. So maybe that is a different Bills team that walks in. Maybe they start building, a foundation here against the Buccaneers, and they build, and they build, and they build, and okay, you get to this Patriots game, it looks like a whole new Bills team. Again, big ifs. We're talking big ifs there. But if that's the case, yeah, I think they could pull that one out because they know the circumstances. So sure, I'll give it to the Bills on that one. That's 2-1.
2-1. Big game the week after, too. Patriots at Ravens. The Ravens have a lot to play for with Lamar Jackson. And at that point, you have to think they really have to just run the table to best Pittsburgh, right? Record-wise. Like they're gonna be giving it everything.
Don't even
they have.
sleep on Cincinnati. If Joe Burrow's back, they can string a few games here.
Right. Exactly. So I look at this Ravens team. They're going to be scrappy. They're going to be playing for a lot. Like
they're playing for a lot, but their defense
I think this is
so
another
bad too.
It's bad, but that offense
terrible.
With Derrick Henry though, if he's able to pop, like I feel like they counteract each other pretty well. It's going to be a shootout. Like I feel like this game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's a classic AFC mid-December kind of showdown. Yeah. Maybe you get some snow there. Where's the game?
At Baltimore.
Ooh, okay. Well,
so it's actually not terrible. I feel like you might actually be okay.
You might be okay. That's going to be a good game. That'll be a big one. Wow. Holy cow.
That's a 1:00 game, surprisingly.
Oh,
the Giants game
game
for them is a 8:15 start. I don't know what day it is, but it's a primetime game.
Interesting decision there.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good one. What are you feeling on that one?
I'm feeling Ravens. I think they're scrappy. I really do. Lamar Jackson has a lot to play for.
They're going to be they're kind of playing for Harbaugh now because this is the first season where Harbaugh is kind of taking some fire.
Yeah, exactly. So they're fired up to play for their coach. Their defense, they know like they're going to get whatever stop they can, but it's not plentiful. That offense is going to be scoring, and they're going to be doing everything they can to. Lamar, when he's desperate, he's going to run around. I know he makes mistakes when he's desperate. We've seen it, but he's a scrambling threat. Derrick Henry's a big threat. Zay Flowers has been bigger this season for them. Mark Andrews is like back a little bit, right? Like I could see that game going either way, but I lean towards the Ravens. I think they're playing for a lot more than New England is, because New England, like you said, has the family aspect. Their team's pretty together. They're young. Like they can, if they don't win that game, not everything's going to fall apart. But if you lose a game like that, if you're Baltimore and then you miss the playoffs, like, oh, Harbaugh might be gone.
Yeah,
like
there's just more at stake for Baltimore.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
Okay, so give it to Baltimore. That's 2-2.
2-2. 2-2. Patriots, Jets. We already saw this last night. The Jets played them a little tough. Could they surprise the second time around? I'm kind of not there. I think the Patriots win that game.
I'm not there. I think that's the vibes for the Jets right now have like an all-time low. So now I'm not there yet. No, I'll give it to the Patriots.
3-2 you have them at. Dolphins, Patriots to end the season. This one I can see getting a little scrappy, especially that Dolphins team. Yeah, they might not be the best on paper, but they played very efficiently against the Buffalo Bills, and they were getting pressure on Tua. Like Greg Rousseau was coming around the side. Joey Bosa was back there blowing up the runs. Devon Achane had a hell of a game, and I think he could against New England too. Like, I don't know. I feel like this one could be close, and I don't know. We have to pick it just for the sake of the exercise, but I could see this one going either way. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a divisional game. Like, we see divisional games go completely sides. So,
well, you got to think if at this point New England has everything in wraps, it's going to be Josh Dobbs in there. It's not going to be Drake May. They're not trotting the starters out there. So in that case, well then yeah.
If the Bills are close though, are they going to do that?
No, if the Bills are close, they'll play their guys.
Right.
If the Bills are within striking range, they'll play their guys.
I have my thoughts of the Bills being in striking range at this point. That's how I'm looking at this.
Okay. Let's assume that situation. The Bills are within a game.
Like if they win, you're tied, and then the tiebreakers come into effect.
And the Patriots are going to roll their guys out. They're going to roll Drake May out. This is in Miami or Foxborough?
In Foxborough. So Miami is not as strong if it's winter weather.
I'm going with the Patriots, and I'm not thinking it twice because the Dolphins struggle in cold weather.
So that would bring the Patriots to 13-4. 13-4.
Damn, that's a good year, man. Holy cow.
That's a great year for New England. So
you're already looking at less losses than the Bills. Or assuming.
Yes.
Yeah. If the Bills went out, then that's a different story.
13-4 for the New England Patriots. That's crazy. But we'll go a little quicker here for the Bills because I don't want to spoil what we think about the Bills' upcoming schedule. Then why would we do another pod previewing other games? But Bills-Texans, Thursday Night Football in the short week. I think the Bills win this game.
Yeah, I think the Bills will. I think the Bills will win that game. The defense for the Texans is incredible. Yeah. But the offense has been kind of going through. Well, hang on. CJ Stroud might come back.
He might.
And if that's the case, then it's a different game.
They've been on and off. Davis Mills pulled a hell of a game together against Jacksonville. So
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're alive.
But even if CJ Stroud plays, it hasn't been his greatest year either.
Right. So that game, I do see the Bills winning that game. I think they'll play a little better than the Texans.
I think they'll play better than the Texans. They lost the last one there. So, yeah, give it to me.
You got a little bit to play for. Bills-Steelers, game after. The Bills are winning this game.
It's the most blue-collar game of all time.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers has been okay. He hasn't, recently, he's been running into some. They figured it out a little bit against the Steelers. So, I think the Bills will as well. I think the Bills will handle
I think they'll handle business against Pittsburgh.
So 2-0 right now for the Bills. Bengals at Buffalo. Oh, this is if Joe Burrow will more than likely be playing at this point if he's already practicing. This game could go. Listen. I don't want to be overconfident, but if the Bengals defense really can't string anything together, and the Bills offense wakes up, if we see let's think of the Bills offense waking up, right? That's how I'm looking forward to this. If they beat the Texans, if they beat the Bucs, Texans, and Steelers like we think, that offense is wide awake on both the passing attack and rushing attack. This Bengals defense is not going to be able to stop them. Joe Burrow can put up as many points as he wants. To know you're immediately going to be able to storm right down and answer back or keep the pace in front of them the entire game, I don't know. I feel good about the Bills matchup with this Bengals team. If you asked me 2 years ago, I do not feel good about that. So I feel better though about this. And I think the Bills defense is better. The secondary is a lot better than it has been in like the last year.
I've been saying it since, everyone has gone out. When the Bills defense is healthy, that's a good unit. That's actually, it's not like an average unit. It's a little above average. They've got they can make some noise when they're healthy. Now, if you were to tell me that the Bengals defense still had Lou Anarumo calling the plays, sure, I'm a little nervous. But he's in Indy now. He doesn't even play. It's Al Golden now calling plays for the defense. And it hasn't looked great. Maybe that's not his fault. Maybe he's the scapegoat because there's not a single talented player on the defense. That's too much. Trey Hendrickson, and he's been dealing with a hip injury. So even then, Cam Taylor-Britt has been in the doghouse over there. He kind of has been in and out of the lineup. He's a solid player, but again, it doesn't seem like he's been in favor of the coaching staff. So yeah, I think I would give the edge to Buffalo. It's in Buffalo. Place is going to be rowdy. It's the stretch to the playoffs. Yeah, Buffalo on that one.
Okay, so counting the Bucs game, we're 4-0 right now. Okay, 4-0 in the next 4 games. Looking forward now, it's Bills-Patriots the week after, and we had the Bills winning that game. So that's 5-0, right?
Yeah,
this is going to be a run, all right? Bills-Browns
the week
after. That's why I love
football.
Yeah, Bills-Browns the week after. That's a win, right? Against Cleveland.
You got to hope
Gabriel.
So. You got to hope so.
If that's not, don't even try the last 2 games. So that's a win, right? So that's 6-0. You have them going 6-0. Eagles-Bills, I have them losing this game. I think they could win. But
that's in Buffalo, right?
That's in Buffalo. But Philly's not out of reach of playing in cold games either. So you know what I mean? I don't give it. I don't think it gives that much of an edge. Home team, sure. With the Bills Mafia and everything. Okay, I'll give them an edge there. But weather-wise, I don't think you really balance anything out.
No, there's not a big gap there.
Yeah.
The only thing that could deter my opinion here is things have been choppy with the Eagles recently.
Yeah, AJ Brown.
Yeah.
Asking for a trade or whatever. He's just very unhappy there.
It's such a weird. I had someone talk to me about this yesterday. Mm-hmm. It's okay, AJ Brown has no cohesiveness with Jalen Hurts right now whatsoever, and it's just weird. We don't know what it is because at one point they were best friends, and someone said, okay, if they weren't on the same page, then why did they go on and still win the Super Bowl? They had the roster to spell that kind of situation. The Bills don't.
No.
So when if Josh Allen's not connecting with your number one guy, if you want to call it Keon Coleman at receiver, they don't have the roster to spell that like the Eagles do.
No.
So that's kind of where that lies. In Buffalo, what time is that game? Is it at 1:00?
4:25. It's a Fox America's Game of the Week, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'd be a good
Same
one.
with the Bengals is 4:25 too. There's a good stint of 4:25 games that'll be coming up. But yeah, I might have the Bills winning that game, but I'm for the sake of the exercise, I'm picking it as a loss because
I'll take the L.
You take the L. Okay. 6-1, right? That puts them at 4 losses, and then the Jets in the last week, you think you're going to beat them. They're in Buffalo, right? And that would make the Bills and Patriots both at 13-4. This is going to come down to a tiebreaker. It really is. And
that's nuts.
Looking at the schedule, sure, the Bengals could beat the Bills, and they could be 12-5, whatever. Anything can happen. Hell, the Giants could beat the Patriots in a stunner, right? We were talking about that. But going off of just what we've seen this season from the two teams and the schedule left, they're both looking like they're going to be 13-4. Where does it go from there? Does it go to AFC? It goes to division, right?
It would go to divisional games, yeah.
So you're rooting for Miami in week 18, whatever.
You're pulling for anybody against the Patriots at this point.
Yeah, you're pulling for anybody just to get the record. But also, if they tie you, you need that divisional loss. Well, oh, yeah, because yours would just be a head-to-head tiebreaker. You would not be a divisional loss.
Right.
You would be outside of that. You would need more outside of that to happen. So, yeah, it would. Listen, this is going to come down to the wire. And the games like the Steelers game, the Bengals game, if the Patriots drop those and the AFC record drops for them, it's already less because they lost to the Raiders. They lost to the, who else? Forget. There were a couple AFC teams, bad ones, they lost to in the beginning of the season. The Steelers, also they lost to. So that Steelers game's big for a tiebreaker if it comes down to AFC record, too. So, anything can happen here. But Yeah, this is going to come down to the wire for the Bills and Patriots. I'm glad we got to do this little exercise because I think it just shows like they're really not out of it for the AFC East yet. I don't think they're going to make it. I think they'll go on the road, but there is a really strong possibility they could still swing back.
The scenario is there. I feel like nothing gets past people in NFL front offices. They're like I said, they're an aware franchise. They're aware that while it's not the most likely thing, if they put their best foot forward here, it's still in front of them.
They could run. And if you beat the Eagles, then you just win. Because
you're asking a lot, though. The team has looked very dysfunctional recently.
Yeah.
So
you are asking a lot. And again, like we said, this Bucs game is going to really determine how to feel moving forward. If they go out there and stomp them and everything looks complimentary and amazing, then I'll die on the hill of
buy some stock into that scenario. Why not?
I'll drop a bet down. I think I would put a bet in for
there you go.
Making the division. Like they're plus 200 right now. They're not favored.
Yeah.
So you'd actually be able to make a little bit of money on that if you really feel necessary. But yeah, I don't know. This was a little fun. We'll have to keep our eyes on these two schedules as we go forward and see where they end up. But listen, this Bills Bucs game, like I said, it's going to mean a lot, and I more than I would like it to, I think. But anything else you want to add before we wrap things up here, Justin?
I'm excited to see the guys get healthy. I think they've been so banged up. Something's in Buffalo this year because with the Sabres and the Bills, people are dropping left and right. I don't know what it is. I'm excited to see the team get healthy, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I think that can be a unit that could shoulder some weight down the stretch here.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And that's going to do it for this edition of the Buffalo Down podcast. Second one, we did a little Bills Bucs preview and went around the league, really, in the AFC East to see what could even up here for the Bills and Patriots coming down the stretch. We'll keep you posted on all of that and more as the season continues to its conclusion, coming up in the regular season, coming faster than we all thought. But without further ado, I'm Joe Cali. He's Justin Siejak. We'll catch you next week with a game recap.